Welcome, everyone, to the first ever broadcast of the Jaegerbomb gaming channel, I guess, here on the wonderful YouTubes. My name is Kevin, Kevin Jaeger, hence Jaegerbomb. Just want to go ahead and say welcome to everyone who's going to watch this, and welcome to my channel. This channel is going to be about a wide range of gaming. My hope is that I'll focus primarily on Star Wars Destiny, but I will also be doing videos, possibly some live streams and so forth for other games. Those other games will probably be Star Trek First Edition, Star Trek Second Edition, Tribbles, a Game of Thrones Second Edition, probably some board games. I get the feeling that some of the members of our team Jaegerbomb play group will want to do some D&D possibly, that we might do some of that as well. But for the most part, this channel is going to be bringing you Star Wars Destiny content first and foremost. I'm really excited to be starting this channel. I'm really excited to bring you, content, because if there's one thing I've enjoyed being in the Star Wars Destiny community, it's been watching and listening to all the wonderful content that the other content creators put out into the world. Personal shout out to Amanda with I Rebel. She's kind of been a supporter of our local play group. So if you have not checked out her podcast or gone to their Facebook page, I suggest you do it. They really do a great job. Amanda does a really good job with her podcast. They put out some really great products. Those 8-bits, alternate image cards are truly fantastic. All the players in our local play group love them. I love giving them out, and so forth. And of course, the other content creators that I've taken inspiration from, guys like Drew at ABG, Monk with Monk's Gaming Battlefield, Chimera with his channel, personal favorite. That's probably my personal favorite. I love joining him when he does his live streams. And if he's watching this, if you see this, Chimera, you'll be happy to know I am now doing this on a brand new computer. So hopefully that'll take care of a lot of the problems that I've had in the past with joining you. No more ping issues, I'm hoping. See, there's some other ones that I really like to listen to. Discard to Reroll. I never listen to Discard to Reroll. I never listen to Ray and Mr. Chip. Those guys are just terrible. So make sure you subscribe to them. I'm sure there's more out there, but those are the big ones that I like to listen to and watch. I know Ray does. He's started recently doing the co-pilot. I think he's been doing a good job with that one. I'm probably going to model most closely to his. I am not the most technologically literate person in the world. I am over the age of 35. Therefore, for me to be able to really do a good job with technology, I need people younger than me. Fortunately, most of the members of our Team Jaegerbomb group are younger than me. And they're the ones that have really done a good job of helping me get this going, helping me get all the programs and stuff like that and so forth. But I'm really excited. I really am. I'm really excited to be doing this, get this started, get this off the ground. So, I thought long and hard about what I wanted to do for a first. I guess, episode. And, honestly, there was a lot of options, but what I decided I'm going to do for the first time is I was just going to go ahead. I'm just going to do a deck building video and then maybe see if I'm going to take that deck out into TTS or not, and see if anybody is open and free to play a game. Just the other day, the guys at Team Covenant, they spoiled a bunch of cards at the regional or the event they were having down there. Jeremy Zwern showed up bearing gifts of spoilers. And of course, my personal favorite character in the Star Wars universe is Palpatine. He's an incredibly dynamic character. I love him, and so I am super excited for there to be a new Palpatine. So what we're going to do, I think, is we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on building a deck here. So I think all of you have probably had enough of seeing my face. So we're going to eliminate that, and we're just going to move on to working on a deck. So this is what we got here. We got the Convergence from the guys at Jaegerbomb who do just incredible work. Again, I'm not technologically literate, so what these guys are able to do with getting these proxies loaded just so incredibly fast, it's mind-boggling to a pseudo troglodyte like myself. And there we go. So this is truly exciting to me. For there to be new Palp. I had my guesses as to what the new Palp was going to do. I guessed that he was going to end up being a lot like Phasma, that they were going to give him a power action where he gets some extra dice into the pool, maybe think about reprinting the Royal Guard and then doing something where, when having Palpatine once again be a all by himself character with a high point value or high elite cost somewhere in the neighborhood of like 26, 27. And then he would potentially activate and then get extra dice when he activated. And then, in my mind, in a perfect world, the new Palpatine would have done something like that. He'd have been like 27 points. So you could run a 3-cost, like profitable connections plot or something. And then he would have 13 or 14 health. And then when he activated, you get free Royal Guard dice that would come out, and then maybe his ability would have been something like, when he activates, you may roll in 3 additional die, reprints of the Royal Guard, and then, after you've completed activating him, you may remove a Royal Guard die to remove an opponent's die showing damage, or something like that. That was my guess. I couldn't have been more wrong as to what the new Palpatine was going to be like. But if you haven't seen him already, here he is. 10 health, 2 melee, 2 focus, 2 shields, which I think is really huge on his die, and the 1 resource side. But his ability is just, it's going to be fun. This character gets +1 health for each ability on him, and those abilities do not count toward his upgrade limit, which then means that you can go way past the normal 3 upgrade limit that a character would normally get. And then he also has his power action, roll a die on an ability on this character enter into your pool. So you get a double dip on an ability. And, in Infinite, for Infinite, it's going to be gross. Being able to, potentially get, 2 force speed rolls in, 2 force throws. I mean, that would be insane in the unlimited format. But as far as this deck building video is concerned, we're not going to do infinite format. We are going to just stick to what will become the new standard once rotation occurs, once we have the next block come out, and then the rules of how rotation works take over, and we're back to just having the Legacies block, plus whatever from Convergence and Allies of Necessity that we have. Speaking of which, this plot, Allies of Necessity, might end up being what we're going to end up building around. Include only if you have 2 or more characters in your team that share a color. After setup, discard a card from your hand and lose 2 resources. I have it in my mind there's a possibility that we might do something along the lines of an Elite Snoke with an Elite Palpatine here. But I'm not sure about that yet. That's interesting here. So we're just kind of looking through the cards that might see play in this deck that we're going to design. I also have it in my mind that another possibility would be to run a 1-die Palpatine and a 2-die Count Dooku and then run Profitable Connection. giving us 3 resources to start the game, and then possibly having, then having 2 copies of Way of the Force in the deck so that we can potentially go first action, play it, and now our Palpatine is 11 health and an elite character already right off the bat. Unfortunately, that would mean then that for the first round, the power action is kind of dead unless we were to get more resources and play an additional, say, 1 cost ability. But it's just a thought for right now. From what I understand, Jeremy, when he showcased everything down at the Team Covenant event, he was playing 1-die Palpatine with 1-die Messenger. Can't play blue abilities on him. But after you activate this character, look at the top card of your deck, and you play that card by paying its cost. Hand extension, it can be big. I know that back in the day, playing the OG Luke Skywalker, on occasion, once or twice in a game, you might draw that extra card, and that extra card ends up having a huge impact. So the fact that you can do it every single round again on a character that may not necessarily be your opponent's first target might be huge, but those 2 focus on him that's really good. So 8 health, though, for 8 cost is You can't play your blue abilities on him, but not that you'd want to anyway, because they're all going to go on Palpatine. So, but I think a guaranteed card to go in the deck is Palpatine's Lightsaber, even if just for thematic purposes. But, I mean, this card, I think, is really good. At the very least, the amount of damage that it can output is on par with an Ancient Lightsaber. If anything, it might be a little bit better because you have a chance for a 2 base side, and you also have the possibility that this lightsaber might be 1 or even 0 cost net. I mean, you do have to put ability upgrades on it first to get that, but not only is it a good lightsaber just at 2 costs, even if you have to play it without any kind of rebate on it, but if you put it on Palpatine, it's non-unique, so it's really good. So I think we're definitely going to play with Force Storm as well, just because of the fact that it is an upgrade ability, and I'm not really sure exactly how many abilities there are going to be that come out in the new block. I mean, blue abilities are, they're not exactly common yet from what we can see. They're not very populous in the Legacies block. And then, of course, we get Malice as well, which, 1 cost upgrade to fuel Palpatine is really good. And then, of course, you have the ability to it's a redeploy. So I guess, can't play it on the Messenger, but can redeploy to the Messenger, I guess. And a pair of discard sides is, on a 1 cost upgrade, is not a bad thing. So let's start here for right now. I'm curious about this Forsaken, though. You can only play it if a player has exactly 1 die in their pool, and you get to remove a die. I kind of feel like that's going to be terrible. But we'll set it aside here for right now. Same way with allies and necessities, since we're not sure what we're going to do. Chance encounter. Spot a leader turned out any side, which of course Count Dooku is. And so at the very least we get to pay 1 to turn a die to any side. So you can use that offensively on your own die and even defensively to turn an opponent's die. So that's definitely a possibility as well. I'm just not sure what to do here. We got 11 count for Dooku. It's 25. We can't play with these 3 guys. I don't know. I kind of want to see how this Messenger plays out, but I also really kind of want to see how Dooku plays out. The problem is I don't really want to play Elite Dooku with Elite Palpatine, because then we gotta go into Solidarity. I don't know that there's enough cards that are going to be in the new standard to make that worth it. And then, of course, if we go with, if we go with the other -1 plot, Bitter Rivalry, then basically it's like you're only starting with like 17 health. That doesn't seem very good either. I don't know. Well, let's look at some other cards and we'll come back to that here. So we don't need this. This can just go away. Oops. Boink. All right. So let's just focus exclusively here on our legacy cycle. So this is going to take a moment here for the computer to catch up with what I'm doing. But theory crafting, for the most part, I mean, obviously everyone's running feed these days. I don't think we're going to do anything different, at least to start with here. It kind of seems to be the logical first choice. Not seeing much yet that really in neutral stuff that wows me yet. If we go into yellow, I'm curious as to what kind of yellow characters are going to be out there that we could possibly go into yellow, and then maybe even because I mean indifference really good. Well, let's focus on blue to start with here. I like Force Lift. I know that there's a lot of people who are on the fence about this card. I don't think it's very good. But it's an ability, so let's pull it out. Same way with Shatterpoint. It's an ability we can put into our deck. I'm thinking that the Treasure Lightsaber is a strong possibility for right now. Just because it's proven itself to be pretty good. This could be good. Offensively and defensively, same with chance encounter. So let's put that over with chance encounter. But right now, still on the fence about how good Conflicted is. At Odds is starting to prove itself and Constructed, so it seems pretty good. No Questions Asked, I like No Questions Asked. I think it's pretty good. I don't like that you got to pay your opponent off, but I do like the fact that if you're flush with cash, you can just really, really hurt your opponent. All right, so let's skip past this stuff. This is Blue Hero. Let's get to the next round of blue villain cards. I feel like this might be good. Again, just like the Treasure Lightsaber. It's like, all those blue abilities are all fine and dandy, but, we got melee here with Palpatine, so it might be really good just to continue on. I wonder how good Stifle is. I don't think we're ever going to get to Vader's fist money, unfortunately, which is really sad since it seems to be a win card. It's flat out play it and win. I wonder about this one too. We don't get to draw a card with it because we don't get to spot Darth Vader, but we can keep extending Palpatine, possibly. Keep extending the game, keep making him hard to kill. I know that instead of Dooku, we always have the possibility of running neutral Anakin as well for the same reason. But neutral Anakin, he has a pay side, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Whereas a Dooku, you also get his power action, which I don't know how relevant that's going to be either, but we'll think about it here. We've also got an Elite Loose that's a possibility. I know that we'll, of course, have Mother Talzin as a possibility. We're pulling a lot of odd cards, so let's just set Rev Valley aside here as a possibility. Under Attack, I'm not sure about. I've actually been having fun with Under Attack. In trilogies with Snoke DJ, this card's actually really, really good. But I don't know how good it's going to be for us right now. Since we're not getting to 20, I don't think that going into yellow for Darksaber is worth it. But we're going to keep yellow in mind here. Yellow's going to possibly be our second pass. And there's our Way of the Force. We can always keep that as a possibility here. Now, Force Jump seems like it is an amazing choice for this deck, possibly. Dagger of Mortis is definitely another possibility. I mean, we may just be running like one-ofs of these lightsabers here, which I don't think is a bad thing, to just have them be one-ofs. We have a lot of twos. We have a lot of twos showing, especially on Palpatine. I wonder if if Palpatine with Division and the Force might not be a possibility here. We get to possibly keep tempo while doing a removal. Of course, Beguile is, I mean, it's Beguile. It's an all-star at this point. Of course, now that's hero stuff, so we'll just ignore that. Move past it. This is more blue hero. All right. The thought I had is that I didn't wonder if we go with Snoke instead of Dooku, we just run like say a 1-die Snoke with a Palpatine, if then Torment isn't really good. Not good. That's an equipment, so it doesn't help us. This is a question mark. I mean, it's an ability, so let's pull it out because we'll consider it. I wonder about this one as well. We'll put this into the maybe pile. Got some maybes here. I mean, yeah. I don't know how good that's going to be. Now, the problem with like Dark Rituals is that if we do bring back Palpatine, say we actually get to 5 resources and we bring Palpatine back, he's only going to come back as a 5. I mean, and then he's lost all of his upgrades you've invested on him. Let's pull Snoke out as the possible pairing here. I mean, Palpatine seems to be the obvious choice here, but we got our options here. Man, it's looking more and more like Solidarity might be a thing. There's actually a lot of cards. Actually, is a lot of viable cards here. I mean, if we run one die Snoke with Palpatine, we can stick with Way of the Force in the deck, and then it'd be an upgrade that would go on Snoke. But paying 3 to get his second die doesn't seem very good. I think if we ended up going with Snoke, then we wouldn't go with Way of the Force. And then, of course, if we go with Count Dooku and we end up doing Solidarity, then we won't need Way of the Force at all. But I just... getting 2 Force jumps into the deck seems like it's hard to pass up. But I also kind of wonder if Palpatine's ability isn't a little bit of a red herring, that there's just... You feel this need to give him all these abilities to up his health, when really it's like, you don't need to invest that much. You put enough abilities into the deck that you'll get some early, you'll put them onto Palpatine, you'll get double use out of him, they'll boost his health up to, say, a 12, but you're good to go. Like, you don't need to flood the board. with abilities, I wonder. So I'm wondering if solidarity with these two wouldn't be pretty good. The other option, if we don't do that, is we can go 1 die Palpatine, 1 die Sentinel Messenger, and then maybe we go into yellow with another 8-point yellow guy. Somebody we can get 8 or 9 health off of, and then we can start the game with 27 health and be boosting from there. Especially since if we stick to odd, we'd actually be able to do witch magic and just play with mostly odds. Of course, that would take some of these good ones out of the mix. We'd be able to stick with Way of the Force in that deck, because then we could actually put it onto Palpatine, give him another die, and again, this doesn't count towards our 3 slots, which is like probably the biggest downside to Way of the Force, is the fact that on a normal character, you'll lose a slot. So that's a possibility as well. And then especially with Sentinel Messenger, we could potentially get lucky, and we get our battlefield, we take the resource, then we activate the messenger, we flip, top of the deck, oh, Way of the Force, and slap it on a Palpatine, and all of a sudden we're off and going. You don't really have, I mean, of course, like Doubt's a possibility as well, but it's even, and I'm questioning if we're gonna do the odds or if we're just gonna, because Palpatine's saber is really good. So is Treasure Lightsaber, and they're evens. Questions. I don't think that Kylo's like crossguard. Now, here's one that we haven't thought about since Legacies came out. Force Stasis. Remove a die showing range damage, then deal 1 damage to a character. So you have to remove a ranged damage in order to deal the damage. And its other die sides are just not great. I mean, a resource is a resource, and a shield's a shield. Especially in a villain deck, a shield is good. But for 2 costs, I don't feel like it's going to do enough. So I don't think that's going to make even the first cut. Dark Council's just an upgrade. It's not an ability, so it doesn't really help us. You know, Clash. Clash is kind of one of those definitely maybe cards. And then, of course, now we're back into the heroes. So yeah. I really wish that this restriction hadn't been on this card. It's such a good die if it wasn't for the fact that you had to play it on an already exhausted character. Hidden Motive seems like an auto-include if we're going to do evens. I guess an argument for Anakin, another argument for Anakin over Palpatine is just the simple fact that, or over Dooku, is the fact you get 50% damage sides. And he has a shield side. It's a question mark. Let's drop him into the possible partners pile. Still think this is a possibility. If we go 1 die, we'll just pull it out just because. Don't want to search for it again. All right. Yellow. Yeah. Their question is always, we got to make sure that our economy is good. If we do a red character, Crash Landing might be really good. because in that way you can deal the damage, you can move the die, deal the damage to someone other than Palpatine. Let Palpatine become your tank. Just tank up Palpatine. You can crash land onto the other guys. So that's always a possibility as well. I feel like this is another card that could be like, we'll put this into the strong maybe pile here. If we load up Palpatine, we have a lot of slots that we can fill, which means we can get a lot of upgrades, which means we can reroll a lot of dice. Respite, put that into the weak maybe category. Mislead, more removal. This is just an upgrade. It's not an ability, so it doesn't help our Palpatine much. This is all hero stuff, so we'll move past that. All right, back into villains. We'll put witch magic into this pile. Same way with spell of removal. I just don't think we're gonna end up doing odds. Now that's interesting. If we go with a yellow character, bartering as an upgrade ability, you basically have 2 resource size, and you can make each player draw a card. And that can backfire on you. I mean, you only typically see this card in mill decks, but it's a 1-cost upgrade ability. Let's just throw that up there. All right, here we go. Here we go. Force Wave. Force Wave. So good. Seems like a must-have because 3 characterless, who knows? I'm a fan of Force Focus. I mean, I'd definitely take Force Focus over Force Fear if it comes to that. I mean, if we end up doing Solidarity, it can definitely go in, I think. That's Hero. Force Rend, just, it doesn't seem like it's going to fit in this deck. I mean, you can put it in the deck and then just hope you hit special side and basically rend away 0-cost upgrades. I guess it would be tech. If we end up being mono blue, it would be tech to deal with vehicle decks. Hit 4 resources, roll it out, hit the special, discard their vehicle. Let's pull it out. It doesn't feel like it's a strong contender because it has basically 2 blank sides for us, which is not good. That's an equipment. Maul's lightsaber. We'll stick it into the pile of maybes over here for weapons. I don't know. The more I'm looking, the more I'm liking the idea of just building a Solidarity deck just to kind of see. Just as a first version of the deck, just to kind of see what works, what doesn't work, what's performing, what's underperforming. And of course there's something to be said for unpredictability as well. So I don't think we're going to do odds. I think then that we would stick with... So let's search for Solidarity again. Pull out Solidarity. Let's pull out Bitter Rivalry. mean, that's interesting, but we're getting the exact same effect, but only better with the cards we have out. Let's go back through and look at some of these early cards again. See if we see any of them in a new light. That's interesting. Don't feel like this works well with what we're trying to do. The question is what do we do? Do we go 2 characters with Dooku, or do we try to run 3 and then we find a yellow villain who's like 8? I wonder what kind of yellow villains there are at 8 here. Yeah, he's a 9. We would be able to do Solidarity. We'd have to do Bitter Rivalry. And then, of course, we're mixing up our damage types a little bit. Now we got Rebel Trader. But he only throws indirect. And we don't get any of the really sick plays off of him that are in the current standard format where you can Jedi Mind Trick behind him. So that doesn't seem to... It doesn't really seem to be worth it. Oh, what else do we got? What else we got? All these heroes. Oh, we could always do Greedo. Magical Man Greedo. Nope. Although I did have the funny thought in my head of running Elite Palpatine with Elite Bib Fortuna just as a screw around deck. But of course, Palpatine's die themselves aren't really worth it. You know, it's not like you're re-rolling, you're going to re-roll a strong die in, like, say, a Vader die. You know, his die only becomes as good as Palpatine's die. So, and if you hit the focus side, then that's just terribad. That's a feel bad moment when you have no other dice to put in because that's what you just rolled in. You know, I mean, if we do odds, we can go with Mother Talzin. I think this is what we have to work with. Even, odd would be superfluous. Even. How do we feel about this grouping? My thought is that this card would actually go to being amazing if Chance Cube is in the format, but Chance Cube is not in the format. And it seems highly unlikely that Chance Cube is going to get reprinted. Now, saying that, you watch it'll happen. So if anybody, for all you people out there listening, you know, you heard it here first. If Chance Cube gets reprinted, you want to put Force Friends into Palpatine, because then you would be able to hit your 4 resources, and that's your tech. That's your tech against vehicles. Vader's lightsaber is good. Maul's lightsaber is good. I mean, we could run just a couple of evens. I mean, we have the ability. We don't have to sell out to... Because, I mean, Beguile and... hidden motive alone are seemingly worth it. I think Treasured Lightsaber would come out. You know, Palpatine, if we go odds, just the fact that Palpatine's lightsaber can pretty much come in for free, we could run 6 even cards. We could run 6 even cards. We could go 2 Palps lightsabers, 2 Beguiles, 2 hidden motives. I mean, we would probably not run that one then, of course. We wouldn't run that. We wouldn't run that. Definitely wouldn't run. I don't know that. I mean, no questions asked. It's a tough sell anyway, just because you need so many resources, and without Snoke generating you enough resources, I don't know that it's a good card. Conflicted is still decent. Division in the Force is 1 cost removal. Mislead. I mean, Triple Threat gives you more consistency, and at odds would be, of course, good. If we ran odds, and of course, we always have the possibility, I suppose, we could run. I mean, if we did Bitter Rivalry with this lineup, how would we feel about that? They almost for sure stick the damage onto Palpatine. It seems like that's of course what they would do. But then you can basically just get him back to 10 health just by putting two ability upgrades on him. And of course we'd have 2 copies of Malice, 2 copies of Force Jump. It seems very likely we'd get there. And then with the Messenger extending our hand. First round, Messenger would extend our hand so that we would actually equal our bitter rival. They would start with 6 and we'd have 5 plus a pseudo 6. So that seems interesting. I mean, once again, we're back to mixing our damage types here, but, you know, Mother Talzin's ability to, if we say, drop the Force Wave on Palpatine, or we drop the Force Jump on Palpatine, roll it out, the Night Sister can focus it. And that could be really, really good. So we definitely have options here. So, droid. Witch. Not on either of these things. Of course, we wouldn't need chance encounter because we would have access to you or my friend doing all the heavy lifting. I don't like the idea of doing Solidarity with this 3-character lineup because we'd only have 1 copy of Witch Magic. And that's a feel bad. That seems like a feel bad. Yeah, not sure. I mean, back to liking the idea then of Way of the Force in the deck, so that you can elite either one of these 2. So even if you draw it late, whoever they went after, the other one, you can make them elite with Way of the Force. And you have another odd ability. And of course, you could always override it with a Force Storm. I mean, that would be killer. What I don't like is the idea. What I don't like is that there isn't a whole lot of redeploy. But, Force Conflicted can become a shield generator for us. Mother Talzin, we could flip Palpatine to the 2 shields as needed. And we could always run 2 Sentinel Messengers. That's always another possibility. Because at least then, what we could do is we could just focus on putting the abilities onto Palpatine while putting the lightsabers onto the messengers. That could be spicy. And I do like the idea of basically starting the game with 25 health. Well, we wouldn't have better rivalry. We'd actually be able to... And we could run all the even cards if we wanted to do it that way. I don't know. Decisions. Well, let's make a decision. I do personally like the idea of sticking with the odd package for the most part, but then just running a handful of even cards and then just living with it. Living with what happens. Allies of Necessity, though. Oof. I mean... Allies of Necessity would allow us to do this lineup. That would be pretty interesting. In the Sentinel Messenger, we'd pitch a card, we'd lose our resources, but we basically have a 5th card in our deck. But of course, I mean, without those first 2 resources, that's rough. I mean, this is once again where it's like, I mean, losing those 2 resources to start a game is just... Ugh. I just don't think I like it. I don't really want to try it. I don't like, I mean, running 3 characters, we just live with the fact that we're slow. So I think that the mixed damage is not much of a problem. The only issue is that we'd be down 1 die providing melee for our lightsabers. Oh boy. Interesting. You know what? Let's stick with our original idea. Let's go with this. Let's not worry about doing odds. Yeah, let's not worry about doing odds. Although I just had an interesting thought. The interesting thought, well, no, I don't know that works. Because with Snoke, once again, Palpatine is easily the first choice target for an opponent. And then when you draw these late, they just suck. So let's do that. Let's do it. Let's build a solidarity deck. Let's just own it. Whoops. That was a mistake. Well, we'll worry about that later. So we build a solidarity deck and we can do whatever we want to do. We'll set that aside for right now. Same with that. Kind of like the idea of this, for sure. I mean, these two are they're just so good. So I think those two definitely make the cut to start with. Force jump just feels good on the whole. I'm not sure how I feel about Malice, but we'll go with it. Let's try it out. Let's see how she feels. Force Wave kind of feels like a must-have for 3-character games. We don't need that anymore. We can run the Force Storm. I don't know if I want to run it as a 2-of though. It's so spendy without knowing whether or not full Sith Holocron is going to get reprinted. I hadn't thought about it, but when I heard somebody say that they thought, you know, oh, maybe this means Sith Holocron gets reprinted, you know, I can see it. They're now looking at it. There are a lot of Force. There's a lot of blue abilities that are still going to remain in the standard format even after rotation. Plus, what we haven't even seen yet. It kind of seems to be a strong implication that we might get a third one, or possibly. I mean, this one's villain. This one's. I mean, those two are both villain. I could easily see us getting 1 or 2 neutral blue abilities. In which case, I mean, Sith Holocron would have a lot of things to work with. So there's always that. If that was the case, if Sith Holocron is a thing, then I'd be like, yes, let's go with 2 Force Storms. Gosh, I love that special though. You know, you get to re-roll it. Oh, keep hitting it. It keeps getting bigger. Oof. And with focuses. Oof, with focuses. That could be a thing. It could be a real thing. You know, let's go with 2 just to try it out. We're just going to screw around here and see what happens. Oh, wait, no, we're solidarity. Oh, my gosh, it's late and I'm tired. We are a solidarity deck. We can't have 2 copies of all this stuff, can we? I deleted the solidarity and then forgot that I was building a solidarity deck. That is just how it is some days, right? Gosh, all that removal, it's so good. You know what? Let's go back. Yeah, let's go back then. Let's go back. Let's go back to that. With the bitter rivalry. Let's do that. And then I wonder if we don't, and we'll just keep this right here as a possible. And then we will stick with spell of removal. And witch magic. I don't know where witch magic went to. I don't know what I did with it. There it is. Cards. I just don't know how I feel about that one too. That one's very questionable. Need Force Lift. You know, let's go with it. Let's go with it. And then let's put that in. Let's put that in. Let's leave that out. Let's play with Palp's lightsaber. I like at odds then. I feel like, you know what, now that I think about it, I feel like mill could be a thing. So let's do it. Let's run with the 2 meditation chambers to kind of counteract the middle rivalry as well. And then we only have 5 cards yet. I like that.
Hi, baby.
3 cards, 3 cards, 3 cards. Yeah, we'll go with just the 1 Force Storm then, because of the fact that we're going to try to stick to odds. Yeah, let's go with You Are My Friend. There's no reason to go with Mislead when we have this. And let's do that. Okay. All right, I think we have a deck. All right, well, let's go ahead. Think about that again for a second. Do I want the resource or do I want the ability to remove? I feel like we're going to be slow. And we'll take the shields if they give it to us then. So, yep, let's stick with that. Okay. Well, I think that's our deck. I think we have a deck here, so I think we're going to stick with this, and I will see you again in the next video where I will probably play this deck in a test game. I'll talk to you then.